The intercity connector for I-49, the final route is not set. There's a need for housing in Allendale, and that's the reason that the Shreveport Housing Authority is rebuilding Jackson Heights. Can you give me a little more detail?
Sure. Well, one of the things that, on the city council we got a lot of questions about was, number one, the housing authority is pretty much an independent body. We appoint their board, or the mayor appoints their board, we approve it. But other than that, they have no, we have no oversight over their actions. And I think that's something a lot of people don't quite understand. But secondly, they did come before the city council for an approval of a site plan. And a lot of people thought, oh, well, here's your opportunity to stop this housing project. Here's your opportunity to make this go away. But in reality, it would have been a lawsuit that we were bound to lose. They owned the land. The land was zoned to do what they wanted to do on it. And so any thing that we did to get in the way of that would really have just ended up putting the city of Shreveport in a lawsuit that we couldn't win.
Now, they're having a groundbreaking today it's called Renaissance at Allendale. It's going to be on the old Jackson Heights property. They're actually breaking ground. Will you be there? The folks that show up seem to be the ones that are saying publicly, we support it.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. Of course, city council is a part-time job. We have full-time jobs and responsibilities in addition to it. So I don't know that my schedule's going to allow me to get there. But, certainly it is part of a larger federal effort. The Choice Neighborhoods is a federal grant that the city of Shreveport got, which would create new opportunities for housing, employment, education, everything in the Allendale area. It's an area that's really been cleared out substantially in the last 20 years, and so this federal grant is one that would help to rebuild it as a community of choice.
Now, this is Shreveport City Councilman Jeff Everson. You had said a second ago that, and seemed to want to make the point very clear, that the city council did not have any input in this moving forward, in the groundbreaking, in the building of, what was it, Renaissance at Allendale,
yes.
Renaissance at Allendale going forward. But I would assume you were allowed at some point to give your opinion. How do you think the council would have gone on that, and what would Jeff Everson's opinion have been?
Well, my opinion is, again, kind of more about, here's one opinion, is that I'm glad they're studying routes that will continue to connect I-49. I hope that this attention being placed on it doesn't distract our attention from I-69, a potentially much more lucrative and, more economic development creating route that we should all be focused on. There are some routes that are possible, and, hoping that those are continuing to be studied. We just got an update yesterday, so they are. And we were, a little surprised with some of the information about those routes, but certainly a subject matter that I think everyone can stand to get educated on a little bit, because some of this federal funding, state funding, the way it's set out there is a complicated set of circumstances.
Do you see this as a problem like I do, that you're going to spend federal money, city money, whoever's money is there, part of it's mine, part of it's yours, on this housing complex, only to tear it down in 10 or 12 or however many years? It just seems ludicrous.
Well, unless they design a route that, doesn't go through that area. That is certainly a possibility. They, have a number of routes that they're studying. But at the same time, if the housing development is there for 10 years, say, before we can afford to fund and build an interstate, I think that's a really hopeful number, 10 years. It's probably going to be longer than that. But if a housing development provides housing for a community for 10 years, that's long enough to have gotten the benefit out of it. It's a asset that's not designed to last sometimes more than 20 years. So
you made a good point the other day too. You said housing is an immediate need. We need to move on this quickly.
It is, and I think that's why this is also, keep in mind, this is also a federally supported project. So the federal government wouldn't be allowing it to be built in the path of land that they wanted to build over if they didn't think there was, a benefit to it. And so While it does seem unusual, the other thing that I always keep in my mind is I don't really have any say over it. I mean, they own the land. They want to do with it something that's legal to do with it. And beyond that, I really don't have any, we really don't have any, unless there is some money to purchase the land, we can't tell them what to do with their land. That would be like me coming and telling the radio station there, you got to tear this thing down today, because I just don't like it anymore.
Running out of time, you expect the mayor to be at that groundbreaking today?
I would imagine that he or some of his staff would be there, yeah.
Shreveport City Councilman Jeff Everson, thank you so much for talking with us today. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, Robert and Aaron. Good to talk to y'all.
Our pleasure. Thank you.